Watch. You'll see I'm not alone in the studios here today. I have with me J.T. Mitchell, and then we have joining us by phone is Miss Frances. How do you say her last name?
It's Milam.
It's Milam.
Milam. And they together have created the Pocket Grammar 24 Mistakes You Will Never Make Again. And first, let me say, don't you wish you had $1 for every time you made a grammar mistake and someone called you out for it, or for every time you saw someone else make a great grammar mistake and you called them out? So I did want to open up the C Spire text line for you. This is your opportunity to share your grievances when it comes to grammar. 601-879-4395. If you have one of your most pet peeves when it comes to grammar, let us know, and we will see if it's in their pocket grammar. But JT, let's start with you. How did this little project come about? Because it's got a pretty interesting story.
Well, 2020 has not been a great year, but Pocket Grammar is one of the beautiful things that's actually come from the coronavirus. So back in, I guess it was spring break for me, I was going out to LA to visit Frances. We get out there, kind of get stuck because of the coronavirus. She was already working on editing some pamphlets by the same publisher, which luckily is now both of our publisher. And so we were editing together, and we just came up with the idea, you see it all the time, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're reading an article or an essay, just mistake after mistake that should not be made. Yeah, Twitter especially kills me. It's one of the biggest pet peeves ever. And so we said, well, let's pitch the idea. We pitched the idea. He loved it. I guess 5 months later, worked remotely together, and here we are. We got them printed about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and it is, if you're on supertalk.fm/watch, you can see it. I'll hold it up. It will fit into your pocket. It is a little pocket grammar sort of guide, and I love the visuals on it the most, and I think, Frances, that's where you come into this. So when JT was visiting you, and you guys just probably started ranting about grammar errors that seemed so common that you should know them, but they're common grammar errors. At what point did you say, let's put visuals to this? We can help people learn better by showing them how to utilize them in the proper manner?
I mean, everyone learns differently, first of all, and I think that our education system is kind of set up for people that learn, a very specific way. And I personally am not one of those people, so any sort of visualization has always helped me kind of understand an idea better. So just as far as color coordinated, every time you see a verb, it's red. Every time you see a noun, it's blue. And then I really wanted to show readers the actual differences through, arrows and through engaging illustrations that tell a story, if that makes sense. So really just kind of learning through storytelling, I think, is really, really important. Well, and what sticks with people.
It's so helpful too, because some of these, even as adults, I think you two have created this maybe to help those in grade school. I've got a third grader who she has really struggled this year, and I've been open on good things with her English. And in fact, she got her some fancy nails because she brought her English grade out from the depths of hell. But that was for another show. and it's not even so much, they haven't even gotten to the real grammar part yet. They're just trying to get them to critically think. But I feel like this is maybe helpful for kids, but man, for adults too, because so many of us, our jobs where we didn't major in English, obviously, end up being where we're writing or putting content out, and you can catch the grammar. You can just catch it.
And that's absolutely correct.
It is bizarre, too, with just the education system. You have kind of 3 or 4 years where grammar is really being hammered in, but then, the priority shifts kind of to writing essays and state tests. And so the students that don't actually receive that grammatical foundation, they end up making the same mistakes over and over again. And you lose a lot of confidence when you do that, and you have in your mind that you're not good at grammar, you don't understand, these basic concepts. So I would say, one of our ultimate goals is to really help these particular students gain confidence in their abilities to kind of communicate and write without that kind of fear of being wrong.
Right, because I think even you go back to your fears in school, number one, it'd be like debate. People don't want to talk out loud. Well, I've always said talking's so much easier than writing because you get a little bit of a grace period if you misspoke or missay something. People can't go back and really red ink you like they can when you put your thoughts or feelings or opinions out there on paper. But now the world is so much of us writing our thoughts and feelings and communicating in that way. And so that I think this is great. But I want to go back to, 24 mistakes you'll never make again. How did you two sit down and come up with the 24 items that are in the Pocket Grammar?
Oh, man. We actually had a list of about 100.
Really? I didn't even know there was 100 grammar.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll have a Pocket Grammar 1, 2, 3, and 4 at some point. We really just phone call after phone call, narrowed it down. We take some out, put more back in, and then we finally came to 24 after probably a week of pondering.
Because there's probably pondering Twitter or Facebook, like, okay, what's the most common misused grammar mistake?
Well, that's the thing. We would take one out, and then we'd be on Twitter, and we'd see somebody mess it up who's 30 years old. We're like, come on. All right, we got to add it back in.
Exactly. Like journalists, people that write for a living.
Well, I can't speak on that because this, and I told JT before we started this on Good Things, I said, this is going to be me poking fun at myself because I'm one of those who pays good money for that Grammarly app that's on your phone and just sort of catch those things for you. That's why editors get paid good money. But I like, JT, what you were talking about in the confidence because so often you can have something poignant to say. And sadly, if you are rough around the edges when it comes to grammar, it can be completely lost just because there is an art to the written word. And we want to keep it that way. And we also want people to sound as intelligent as their, content is trying to be.
1,000%. And nothing makes me scroll past a Facebook post quicker than a typo. A bad typo. It could be a great tweet, great Facebook post, but if you have a bad typo, not many people want to put that on their page.
So
it makes people lose credibility.
For sure. So it became a project, a passion project, obviously for you two, and now it's an actual in-print Pocket Grammar. So what's your hope for it? Who can get one? Where can you get them? We'll move into some of the most popular mistakes coming up because the C Spire text line's kind of going crazy with their favorite pet peeves when it comes to grammar. But what's the ultimate goal for your Pocket Grammar?
Well, I guess the ultimate goal is to have this Pocket Grammar in the hands of every 4th, 5th grade student in the state of Mississippi, even the nation, at some point. But besides that, we want everybody to have it. There is no age restriction. Not 4th graders need it, of course, but I need it still. I put one in the newsroom here, and they've already used it a couple of times. Everybody needs it. And so you can go to 2 different places. You can either go to thepocketgrammar.com, and there you'll have all of our illustrations, a couple card samples. You can click Buy Now, and it'll redirect you to our publisher site, or you can go straight there, which is leadissionshakespeare.com.
Which I think, as Christmas is coming up, that may be a passive-aggressive thing to buy your spouse or your loved one. However, right up there with a diet book. I sell those. So just hit them with 2 whammies. But no, I'm thinking more
stocking stuffer.
Straight for kids, especially as such uncertain times with where school is going to be, whether it's going to be virtual or back in person, or maybe you do choose to homeschool or do a hybrid. I think when you see it, again, if you go to supertalk.fm/watch, I'm holding it up. It's about the size of an index card, and it flips and it thumbs through. It really is just something you can pull out of your briefcase or have next to where you're writing, your novel finally, or where your kids can have in their book bag, especially you mentioned that 4th and 5th grade era. So we talked about there's 24 mistakes you'll never make again. JT, what's the one on here that just drives you the battiest, if that's even a word?
You're putting me on the spot. But my sister, she's a 4th grade teacher, so that I can give her a little bit of credit on why I'm here. And growing up, even before she knew she wanted to be a teacher, she'd correct me on I and me all the time. I and me. And so that's probably what I notice the most when people are talking is when they say I or me wrong. If I were to say, Rebecca and me are going here, that's wrong. You need to say it without the other person. So take Rebecca out. It needs to be I am going here.
Don't take Rebecca out. Keep Rebecca in. And because we're going to continue with JT and Frances coming up, we're connecting you with an opportunity to take a pocket grammar with you wherever you go or with your children. It is it's a tool, right? JT, you would describe it maybe as a tool or a device or a guidebook.
Yep.
Because it does. It looks like a 5x or a 3x5 sort of note card. It was written by J.T. Mitchell as well as with Frances, who is joining us from, where are you, Frances?
I'm actually in Quebec, Canada right now.
I was like, where are you coming? What time of day is it there? What's the weather like?
The weather actually is great. There's been kind of a warm pop, but I mean, this is like Mississippi winter right now for me. But everyone's like, wow, it feels so great outside. I'm like, what? What does the winter feel like?
It's going to be cold.
Yeah.
It's going to be really cold with the exclamation point there, talking about appropriate grammar. And this isn't to make anyone feel bad or putting anyone down in terms of grammar mistakes. I think when you, as a parent, when you're thinking about helping your kids build that confidence in their written language, which they're going to have to get through high school and then move on to any sort of upper education, if they have that confidence in their writing ability, they can just take that off of their plate and focus on the actual content or getting, to that next level. And so this is, to me, what that pocket grammar is for. Although those of us who do have jobs where we do write, whether it's, small form or long form for social media or articles or authors for different types of books, then this, to me, is just helpful. And they are mistakes that, that we get just tripped up on. And there's 24 of them. And I want to start with the first one, which is accept versus accept, or accept versus accept. Okay, I love how you sort of explain it. So, Frances, I'm going to toss it to you since you came up with the visuals. How would you describe those two visually?
So accept, definitely kind of like a just, receiving, it being a verb. I'm actually going to pull up the actual, visuals.
You used it with the present. As we move into the holiday season, we are going to be gifting things. So accept would be, giving, it being the verb, and then accept is, right, with the X, kind of leaving someone out, the opposite of accept, but definitely not connected in that way. But
And I think one thing that's definitely worth noting is every single slide or every single card has pro tips. And this is your memory tool. This is how you remember things.
Right.
And so that's the pro tips that we both have taught ourselves or been taught over the course of our education. And so with, accept and accept, it's if you're going to accept an award, that's an A for accept, A for award. If you're going to exclude somebody, accept starts with an E, accept,
See, I love these because these are the pro tips that I feel like so many of us struggle when we're working with our kids. Again, my only focus group of one right now is my third grade English student who is struggling with summatives, informatives. If you know that language, God bless you, because we're in the same boat. We're trying to get them to figure it out. And as a parent, you're sitting there and you're trying to help them the best that you can. But even sometimes you're limited in brushing off your grammar skills because Lord knows it's been a minute since I've been, being taught how to read, or not being taught how to read, but being taught how to properly write. So another one that I see all the time on at least social media where people are tearing people down, which is not what we're trying to do here on Good Things. We are genuinely trying to have a good conversation around good grammar and how you can help improve that with the pocket grammar. But it is there and there. And sometimes I think it's just a simple, we text so quickly and we type with our thumbs that sometimes this just gets caught up in autocorrect, or we just don't see it until after we hit send. But it can cause a lot of people to go, when they're reading social media. So what's a fun and easy way to help at least teach our kids or ourselves the difference between there and there? And there, and there.
Yeah, so we have three there.
So
There's three.
English does not set us up for success. That is for sure.
But pocket grammar does.
Exceptions, and pocket grammar absolutely does. So there, as in possessive, we actually, our pro tip for that is heir, as in like heir to the throne. So it reminds you basically that it belongs to someone. So our kind of example here is with this burrito restaurant. So Tito's Burritos, right? Their contraction, the two employees are working at Tito's Burritos. And so we know that it's a contraction for they are because of the apostrophe. And then there, as in the place, so basically that is, it has the word here in it. They have great burritos there at Tito's Burritos. And then they're possessive there also is very spicy, as in heir to the throne, possessive. So there's just kind of a lot of narratives like that using the same kind of like subjects, and then a little bit of like wordplay with the different versions of them.
I know it's hard to sort of talk through when you actually visually see it, because I know sometimes it is so helpful. The visual part of it is the helpful part, and I know you put a lot of work into that, Frances. Your characters in here, did you see them, like when you started drawing all of these out or thinking through the pocket grammar? How did you set that up? Did you have sort of a storyboard? Did you see... I feel like there's a lot of work that went into this and sort of the back-minded. So how did this come about for you?
Well, so I actually, I was an English major, but I've always loved art. So it was a really fun kind of project to look forward to every day. And honestly, every time I came up with a new card, it was just kind of like creating a new story, creating new characters. Yeah, it definitely was like an everyday just kind of break from, I'm a copywriter, so I write all day. So basically just being able to pick up a pencil and create a story, but with images, was like a really great breath of air. So,
and also one of the reasons that she wanted to do the art so much was because she saw my art. We tested that out. Did not look very good.
But you're writing
what
to
was
it.
It was a groundhog.
That's right. That was my groundhog. It should have made its appearance in there.
It was a groundhog potato. It was amazing.
How did y'all get it printed into this really neat sort of pocket guide? I mean, it slides so well. You can go straight to it. It's got the great visuals. So how did you get that to even print? Who came up with the idea of it being a sort of flip version?
Well, Ladisi on Shakespeare, their goal is to teach not only native English speakers how to be better at their native language, but to teach others, French and French people anywhere across the country. And so anywhere across the world, my bad. So we started talking to them, and that is our publisher, and they had already tested out this format with another one of their pamphlets. And so they sent us a couple copies. We flipped through it, and we thought this was probably the best route that we needed to go for format-wise.
Well, I think this is something really neat that came out of quarantine. If you missed the beginning of Good Things and how this sort of came about, is you guys were stuck in quarantine and started, editing things and came up with this idea that there needed to be a tool to help students with their grammar. And I think you completely nailed it. So let's make sure people know how to get it and to get it in time in my mind, for at least holidays or to finish out. Lord knows what school's going to look like by the end of the year. Let's be honest.
Give grammar, the best gift that you can give.
That's right. That's right. And so you can get a pocket grammar, and like Rebecca said, it is great for remote learning. I hope to God we never go back to remote learning, but we might. You never know. We're still in the...
Some of us are already getting there slowly by the day.
Okay, so
stinking COVID.
Well, there we go. We got you covered, Rebecca, but with pocket grammar. So all you got to do is go to thepocketgrammar.com. You'll see some visuals. You can see card examples. Click that big Buy Now button either at the top or the bottom, and it'll get you to our publisher site.
Well, and I also think, too, remember, I think this is great, too, for teachers who may have struggle with helping kids understand or visualize the difference. I think it's great for college students. I'm going to keep mine. You can't have it back.
I won't You can just Venmo me $10.
Because I fall into that there trap all the time and loose and lose. I'm like, that one O just gets you in so much trouble. But no, this has been fun. So, Frances, I appreciate your time. If you're ever back in Mississippi, you have a spot open here on Good Things. And J.T., congratulations. This is really cool. And thank you for stopping by and sharing it with us.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca.
I really appreciate you, Rebecca. You're awesome.
Thank you. All righty, stick with us. We've got a few more good things for you.